Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
What's going on, everybody? Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You're checking out episode number 1051 of the RCWR show. Lee Sanders with you guys. Don't do any adjustments. For those of you that's happening to be tuning in live right now, you are checking out a live episode in progress for this Wednesday of September 20th, 2023. I just got to figure out what type of graphics to use when it's past when we're initially supposed to come on and everything. Hope you guys have had a fantastic week so far. Yeah, we were supposed to do this show initially on Monday night, and I put out a social media blast letting you guys know what was going on. But for those of you that maybe had missed it, I ended up having a bad case of the Christian Bale Batman voice, as I like to call it. And I know that voice, some people may think that's kind of cool, but there's others that's going, man, that is a terrible voice. Long story short, I really did not have my voice in the full range that you guys have come to appreciate, respect, and everything. So I was not trying to force it. I mean, I pretty much would have been coming on the air sounding a lot like, and yeah, I just was not interested in doing that. So we tried to push the show back to Tuesday, and I was still dealing with the crap. It's only really today that I feel a lot better, to the point that if everything goes right today, we're definitely going to be doing a double dose. So you guys are going to get two shows today. Of course, we'll come on later on tonight, talk about Dynamite Fallout and all of that good stuff. So look, I think at this point, since Raw is pretty much officially in the books, it's now basically 48 plus hours later. Like, everybody has seen it, but I'll definitely give just some overall blanket thoughts on the episode, talk about some latest headlines as well. I'm not going to go into what went down with the WWE Endeavor TKO earnings report. I know there was something that had came out the other day, and also at the same time, there is a very interesting article that is floating around online. Let me see if I can actually find that article that Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, shout out to him. It's a really interesting article that the LA Times published just recently, looking at the career of Vince McMahon. And I'm going to get into all of that stuff later tonight on the Wednesday show, episode number 1052, for those of you that's interested. But no, we're just going to, we'll go lightly here and there and all of that good stuff. So don't worry. You're not just going to get one show and then we're done until the very next week. No, we're going to give you guys definitely a double dose and everything. So, where to begin? Hey, are you guys loving the weather? I am loving it over here, man. Now that we have officially gotten past summer, oh my God, we are having over here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, we are having some of the best cool, crisp, cool breeze nice kind of weather that is going on, and I am truly loving it right now, man. Seriously, it's nice to be able to head out, and now it's to the point, at least out here, and I'll take it for what it's worth, but we've gotten to the point so far this week where kind of nippy, need to take a sweater. It's kind of like that kind of weather, and you know what, I don't mind that whatsoever. I do not mind that whatsoever. So some interesting stuff that's been going on, crazy stuff since last we was on air with you guys. It's funny because I was online on YouTube yesterday. We'll shoot the breeze. We'll just go all over the place, and we'll just go with the flow of the conversations, of the topics, and we'll find our way through this, because honestly at this point you guys are used to me just doing a full-blown Raw recap, really, but it's Wednesday, we'll do the usual kind of show that we normally like to do. But I found it interesting. I was going down the YouTube rabbit hole the other day, and I came across Roland Martin. I love Roland Martin. I love checking out his content. Guy stays putting some really good stuff out there and everything. But there's this one video, and of course, naturally, you're going to click on the video because you want to know what the hell is going on and everything. So he has this great thumbnail. He puts out some really good thumbnails and everything. Stay with me here, because this is say what? So Roland Martin has this thumbnail that basically talks about how black people were kicked out of a restaurant for eating too slow. So naturally, you see a thumbnail like that, you see the captioning and all that, you're going to go, wait, what the hell? You're going to click on it, and you're going to try to find out what exactly was going on and everything. So apparently, at a restaurant in Florida, I should have jotted the name down, but for those of you, if this doesn't whet your appetite to go check out the video afterwards, I don't know what will, but bullet points in a nutshell, there was a entourage of, I would say, 6 people, 5-6 people, give or take, definitely around that range. Let's see, all of them were black except for one person. I believe that one person was white. If they weren't white, they definitely were not black, okay? So they go to this restaurant in Florida, and it is a very bourgeois type of restaurant. This isn't I know most of you guys are used to going to Cheesecake Factory and you look at that bill and you go, okay, this puts Cheesecake Factory to shame, okay? So when it was all said and done, their bill was somewhere between $600 to $800. All the food that they had was bland as hell. How bland was it, Lee? It was so bland that they all were passing around salt to try to add some type of flavor to their foods, but it was just that bad, okay? That bland and that bad. The drinks, they all put over the drinks. Drinks were good. And you're supposed to be having all of this enjoyment while some nice jazz music is playing and everything, okay? Like, they actually have jazz artists come to their restaurant, perform, all that cool stuff. So, I mean, sounds like a nice setup, right? It sounds kind of cool and everything. So, I guess a waiter or whatnot tells them that they need to leave. Now, keep in mind, I didn't give you the most important part of this whole story, so stay with me. I didn't give you the most important part. They arrived at this place at 8 o'clock. The reservation was for 8:30. But they heard about how, hey, you might want to get there early. Make sure you get yourself a nice table and everything. So they got there a half hour early. They waited about a half hour to 45 minutes despite getting there early. It was pretty crowded. They were seeing other people were coming in, getting tables after just a couple of minutes, while their entourage was still chilling, like, what the hell's going on here and everything. Then they finally get to sit down and everything, and there was just delay after delay after delay. It was just really weird what was going on. And grand total, they were at this place for an hour, maybe up to an hour, 15 minutes. And then they were told they had to leave. Yeah, naturally, at an establishment, bourgeois establishment like this, and the amount of money that one is paying, yeah, naturally, you're going to get a little perturbed, especially with the amount of money that, you know, you're putting out there and everything. You're going to get perturbed. You're going to want to find out, yo, what's going on here? What's causing all of this? You know, what's up? Now, it turns out the owner of the establishment, their son, my God, that boy needs some serious management skills. He does not need to be in that position. Boy, you talk about poor customer service skills. I can understand somebody that is shy, quiet, not really the talkative type, but they are the type of person, if you say, hey, how's it going? They acknowledge you. I don't mind it. I can work with a person. But the way this kid was coming at these people, you know, it pretty much was like, you need to go, you know, that's it. So they tried to hide behind this whole time limit. That's what they tried to hide behind. That's what the son's owner, the owner's kid, that's what he tried to hide behind and everything. And they pretty much were like, wait a minute, you don't have any signs that indicate this from the moment that you're looking at this place, and then the moment that you come inside, nor is the host, hostess, or the waiter even mentioning this. This information is not at a table. You know, what the hell? You know, this sounds like something that you guys just came up with. What the hell? So they mentioned the fact that the food was bad, but the drinks were okay and everything like that. And I believe this was not a case where they had refused to pay their bill. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure Roland had got them to go on record and, you know, they were trying to pay their bill. So cops, this gets escalated very quickly. The son's owner decides he wants to call the cops. And shout out to the two police officers. You got to see the footage of these two police officers. So it was a woman and a man. They could have easily escalated the situation. And we're talking about Florida, folks. We're talking about Bizarro land, after all. So this could have escalated very, very easily. But it did not, because these officers were cool as ice. I mean, they were just so low-key, very chatty, very encouraging. They actually were on the Patreon side, the customers. They actually were on their side and everything, and telling them, look, you know, just document everything, you know. And honestly, they're like, it's the weekend, so you're probably not really going to get anywhere as far as the weekend goes. Maybe first thing Monday, you know, go past these people, you know, go for the top owners and all that. They mess with the wrong people, y'all. Seriously, they mess with the wrong people, because one of the brothers is friends with somebody that works at the mayor's office, so, you know, extremely close. And then another person has a friend that, like, there's a whole council of lawyers or whatever. So, and what's really funny about this is this particular establishment that I'm talking about, a couple of years back, they had tried to cry discrimination because their establishment was at risk of being shut down. There was some type of a zoning issue that was going on, and they were like, oh, this is discrimination, what you guys are trying to do to us. You know, we deserve our fair shot, we deserve our chance, yada, 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 yakety smackety. And ultimately, they won their whole little zoning issue or whatever. So to see that this, right, so that's where we are with this. And I know for a lot of people, they're going to be homing in on the fact that, you know, black. I don't really think race is an issue here. Now hear me out. because I know there's going to be some people that's going to jump on that and they're going to be like, just understand how I'm looking at it. Could you go the race route? Yes, you could go the race route, especially when the entourage had mentioned to Roland that it appeared that there was another unrelated table, of blacks that kind of experience a little bit of a similar thing, but not quite in everything, right? Two things can be said that's true. You could make an argument if you wanted to just take everything that I just presented to you and everything, and once you watch the video and you hear the victims' words, in their own statements, you could make an argument that, oh, this is because they're black. But you could also make an argument that, just putting race to the side, you could also make an argument that, man, this is just when it's all right down, said and done, piss poor customer service, bad communication skills, just obnoxious, just rude. I mean, you got the whole nine. You can just, right? So there's two ways that you can look at this. Now, it's funny because the owner of the company, the restaurant, did not even try to reach out to the family. But when Roland Martin and his people had, reached out, all of a sudden, no, thank you so much for reaching out. We really would like to try to sit down with the families and, have a pleasant phone conversation with them and try to get this resolved and blah this, blah that. The entourage is like, we tried reaching out for the owner before you all did, Roland, and we didn't hear a peep. So obviously this owner knows exactly who Roland is and all that other stuff and is trying to play face and everything. But the fact that and from what the entourage had heard from others that were there, I guess there might have been some people that they knew when they came to this little restaurant or whatever, but from what they had heard, apparently the owner's kid was just going around falsely broadcasting that they were kicked out because they had refused to pay their bill. So they're also deadbeats as well. You just hear crap like that and you just can't help but go, what the, in all my years of eating at establishments, and I've ate at many establishments over the years across many states, cities, you name it, I've never come across a situation like that. The closest, and I think anybody can relate to this, the closest that maybe I've ever come to a situation like that is me and my entourage. We get there, we've been there for maybe an hour, over an hour, we've had our drinks, we've had our appetizers, we've had our main entrees, we even had dessert, and at that point everything is clean as far as like the plates go. Everything's clean, right? There's dirty dishes everywhere. Most of our drinks is empty. We've already got our refills out the way. We're just pretty much sitting there now, just lollygagging or whatever. And a waiter may come and they may say, hey, is it okay if we can start cleaning up the table here, because we're starting to get a little packed and, I hate to ask, but, we could use the table. At this point, we've already been there an hour and all that, and, right, we've already done what we needed to do, and it's, yeah, sure, can you bring us the check? Yeah, no problem, bring us the check, it's cool, right? I can understand a situation like that, but to hear something like this is just on a whole new other level. When I hear stuff like that, I gotta tell you, I don't know how it makes you guys feel, but when I hear stuff like that, it makes me really appreciate the fact that, one, I did not get married in Florida, because originally I was supposed to get married in Florida originally. Got married in 2021. 2020, like before the world, just 2020, the wedding was supposed to be in Florida. And we just decided, it's just, no, it's pretty crazy what's going on out there. And they was giving us a run around on the venue and price and this a whole bunch of stuff. We just said, yeah, no, that's okay. But when I get the name, I'll have the name of the place when I join you guys for the Wednesday night show for post Dynamite Fallout. When I join you guys for that, I'll be sure to mention the name, because I am aware that as far as our listenership goes, we do have listeners in the Florida area, and I know that for our, some of our guys that's in Florida, they'll already know the name of the place that I'm talking about and everything. By the way, for my people in Florida, what the hell? Is this like, I got to ask for my people in Florida, and feel free to reach out to me. You can either reach out to me via social media, or you can hit me up with a email, thercwrshow@gmail.com. That's THE. Make sure you put that in there. thercwrshow@gmail.com. Shout out to my Florida residents, or hell, even those that formerly lived in Florida. Is this typically, like, does this happen a lot more than what's being reported? I'm very, very curious. So shout out to my Florida residents. Definitely let me know what's going on with that. I mean, that's just crazy, right? It makes you want to move when you hear something like that. Seriously. And speaking of moving, shout out to the beautiful and the lovely Jade Cargill, because it seems that she's going to be making the move by all reports that's being put out there. It would appear that she is on the move. She's done with AEW. Her contract has allegedly expired as of maybe Monday or something like that, or over the weekend, and that she is WWE bound. That she got some reports being put out there that she's actually starting up at the Performance Center this week and everything. And I hear that, and look, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy for Jade Cargill, because of all the women that I looked at from that AEW roster. And for me, it wasn't one of those, you got to go to WWE. You got to go. But honestly, and I'm sure for some people, they might have not said it out loud, but they probably quietly just looked at some of the women on that AEW roster and said, you know what? I bet you they would really thrive well in this universe over here. And right, you can just do it. You just look at certain people, and it's not just a WWE thing. You know what I mean when I say that, right? It's not just taking someone from AEW and inserting them in WWE. It actually works both ways, believe it or not, people, right? So, but Jade was definitely one individual I looked at and said, man, this woman has, from the moment that we were first introduced to her on AEW programming, and then as I'm reading up more on this woman, I'm going, wow, WWE passed up on this woman? What the hell? I don't understand that. And I believe at the time when I made those initial comments, there were actually some in my wrestling inner circle bubble that said, well, Lee, you got to keep in mind, dog, she didn't look like how you're seeing her now when she went to go try out for the WWE. The first rodeo. I'm like, huh? Like, she didn't look like this? I'm like, nah, she didn't have the whole chiseled look. She didn't have none of that going on. She had a nice build, but she didn't have any of that going on. And it's, wow. Right? And they weren't trying to make it seem as though she was fat or anything like that. It was just, she didn't look like how we had initially saw her and everything. But from the moment that I saw Jade, I couldn't help but go, well, damn. This woman, she looks like a freaking stud. She looks like a bona fide star. And I was very curious to see how Tony Khan and crew were going to be setting her up and everything. And to their credit, they did a phenomenal job in how they booked the girl when it was all said and done. I thought they did great, but I'm kind of scratching my head towards the end there, because we hear the rumblings that Jade is possibly done with AEW, yet we see Jade brought back to AEW programming. just to lose to Chris Statlander, and then she's gone again. And now allegedly she's WWE bound. I mean, you just can't help but look at that whole, let's assume this information is legit. If you're Tony Khan and crew, I'm just kind of having a hard time understanding the logic behind, we're going to bring Jade back. She's going to do a job for us, but we're going to bring her back. She's been gone all this time, but we're going to bring her back to do this job, and then she can go do. I'm having a hard time understanding that. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. It really doesn't. That would be the equivalent of that would be the equivalent of, okay, you've already put in your 2-week notice, you've turned in your badge, you've turned in your key card, and all of that other stuff, and we've pretty much given you your last paycheck, so everything is good to go. You've worked your last shift. That's it. Your last day, it's come and gone. But then we decide, like, I don't know, a week later, we decide, hey, we want you to come on ahead and work for us just one more time. We want you to come and work for us just this one day. We'll pay you and everything. We'll cut you a check by the end of the shift, but we need you to come in, just for this one day. No, if you were trying to move past them and an opportunity came about where they said, yo, I'm putting in my 2-week notice, you're going to be happy that, they're going to be rolling out for whatever their respected reasons are, whether you got along with them or not. There's a part of you that's pretty much, okay, we're done with them. Next. All right. So just assuming that this information that's coming out is accurate, you can't help but just hear all of that and go, oh, what the hell are these guys thinking over here when it's all said and done? And before anybody asks, as far as, who could Jade Cargill possibly feud with over in the WWE? Because I know that's kind of a hot topic, and usually you'll have some listeners, they like making their rounds, hearing the list of people that's being brought up, maybe see if the names will match up to the people that they're thinking about, and all that other stuff. We can all be in agreement that there is a nice list of opponents that Jade could go against and could definitely team up with. I don't know why my furry little terrier is barking her behind off, but hey, it's live, pal. What are you gonna do? Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll shut the door. I'll deny her access from coming back in here. Hang on a second, guys. There we go. That's how we take care of that. But no, where's my train of thought? There's people that she can go up against, and there's obviously people that she can team up with. So, I mean, the combinations are definitely endless as far as what you can do with Jade Cargill. That much for sure. One thing that I'm more focused on, everybody's so focused on the list of opponents. What I'm more interested in personally is what's going to happen to Jade in that WWE realm. Is it going to be a case where she's going to be in NXT for a hot little bit, or are they going to go ahead and insert her on the main roster? That's what I'm most curious about. And in regards to that particular situation, I would be more interested in seeing her on the main roster. And let me explain to you the reason why. I personally feel that if you put her on the NXT brand, that is going to be, oh my God, that is going to be such a huge distraction. It is going to be such a huge distraction. Because think about it. You've got big time Becks. You've got Becky Lynch that's down there right now. She just became the NXT Women's Champion. And she's going around talking about how she wants to give opportunities to the newer girls. She wants to do her respected part in helping take the NXT women's division to that next level and everything. Okay. By the way, the match that she had with Natty, it was a pretty solid match, but we can all be in agreement that we knew what was going to be the outcome of that one. And it's so sad because we've gotten to this point now where nobody is disputing the fact that Natalya is a solid wrestler. It's just that we've gotten to this point now where I just don't care about this match. It's a joint with Natty. I mean, as soon as you hear that freaking screech sound of the intro music, you already know what time it is. You are automatically getting up. And how many of you, be honest with yourselves though, how many of you all out there, when you hear that little guitar screech and all that, how many of you are just hoping for one split second, maybe Brett's gonna come out? But then when it's not Brett, it's Natty, you go, yeah, let me go back to doing what I was, right? It's okay. You can admit it. You can admit it if that little guitar riff still gets you, right? I get it. I respect it. But we see what's going on with Becky Lynch over there. If you were to insert Jade Cargill in there within the next couple of weeks, a month or two, but Becky still has the championship, that would be so unfair of a spotlight, because then, especially if that's not your intent, that's the key, if it's not your intent. So you have Becky there and then Jade, so fans are going to automatically be conditioned to, oh, Jade's in NXT. Jade is going to be the one to ultimately take this NXT women's title away from Becky Lynch. And fans are just going to be sitting on their hands. They're going to be waiting for it. They're going to be waiting for it. They're going to be waiting for it. And then you're also thinking about the other women that are part of the NXT roster as well. The Gigi Dolans. You're definitely thinking about the Cora Jades. What is going on with my girl Nikita Lyons? I've been missing her big time, man. I miss my Nikita Lyons, Faith the Lioness. I miss her, man. But think of some of your favorite girls, right? You're picturing them, and you're going, okay, as far as the food chain goes and all that, what does this mean for them? Lash Legend, what does this mean for them particularly? I think Jade would be a big distraction going over to NXT. Now, if it is the intent that, okay, we're going to have Becky do these challenges, let her, just come on out there, do these challenges. Women are coming after her every single week or whatnot. And then ultimately, Jade is brought in. Hey, if you want to get somebody off on a really good start, okay, that's kind of, and then let Jade maybe continue a winning streak. Let her do a new winning streak, right? If you wanted to maybe operate that way, that would take so much. There would have to be so many moving parts in that whole big old storyboard in order to make everything be in alignment. You feel where I'm coming from? Everything has to be it's got to be perfect, the alignment, from the story to the opponents. Just everything has to be. I don't know, honestly, if WWE would be that bold and ambitious to take on something like that with Jade. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite convinced. It would definitely be a unique opportunity for them, but I mean, look, we did go through that period where NXT was pretty much toxic attraction. It was a toxic attraction show. Would they be willing to go with the Jade show? Would they be willing to go in that direction? I mean, I would like to believe that somebody in WWE was looking at the rating segments there with Jade, and your guess is as good as mine. But I would like to believe somebody did some type of research like that. But I wouldn't operate that way personally. That's just me. I honestly would let her go to the main roster, put her over there on SmackDown. Put her over on SmackDown. Let her, go through the motions that way. Get her stuff in that way. Then maybe with the next WWE draft, depending on how far along she's come, maybe then put her on the Raw side of things. But main roster is the direction that I would go. But here's the thing, and most people aren't even mentioning this part, and this is the most critical part. Don't put the girl on TV until she's gotten some more training. I mean, we can all be in agreement, and look, longtime Jade fan, right down to the point. Y'all are more than welcome to go check out my review for this past Friday's AEW Rampage. Was it Rampage? Or was it Collision? No, it was Rampage. It was Rampage because Britt Baker ended up taking on Chris Statlander on Collision. So it would have been this past Friday's Rampage where Chris Statlander defended against Jade. I put that match over, especially the outing there for Jade and everything. But, we can all be in agreement. Jade definitely needs a little bit more training, and there's nothing wrong admitting that. She definitely, if the reports are true, she's definitely in the right place to get that training. So I can't wait to see what happens with her going forward. I mean, she's already got the character that's there and everything. You can easily flush that out a lot more. Future looks extremely bright. I know that WWE had signed a few wrestlers as well. Shout out to Holly Swag. That's a name that seems to continue to be floating around within the past couple of days. I know a lot of you guys have seen the Al Snow OVW documentary, The Wrestlers, on Netflix. I have not watched that yet. I have so many subscriptions as it is, and I'm hearing a lot of people sing the praise of that series. I will definitely check it out. I don't know if it'll be in the next week or two, but I will eventually check it out. But Holly Swag is among those that actually is now part of the WWE Performance Center and everything, so shout out to her. If you watch WOW Women of Wrestling, you know her as Holly Swag. I can't think of the name that she's running around under. I think Hollywood J or something along those lines. But she's in The Wrestler. She's in the Al Snow documentary, and it's funny because everybody that was commenting on her, they were going, who, when they found out that she had apparently signed to the Performance Center. Everybody's going, who, and it was, hey, she's the girl from the Netflix series for Al Snow's OVW. And if that didn't jog your memory, then it's, hey, not for nothing, but she was doing her thing over there for WOW Women of Wrestling, under this name. And like, people can say who all they want. I find that to be funny in the day and age where you can easily Google or Bing and you can find out that way. It's like, yeah, okay, you're admitting you don't know. That's fine if you don't know, but to try to make it come off as if you're taking a cheap shot at them, hey, if all you're doing is drinking the main promotion Kool-Aid, hey, more respect to you and everything, but you should definitely be outside of that bubble a little bit to at least know who could potentially be the next crop of men and women, the next batch of men and women that you should be keeping your eyes on that could be a force to reckon with for the major brands in the years to come. It's interesting because I remember a time where, before social media really blew up to where it is now and everything, I can remember a time where me and my friends, we relied so heavily on the PW Insiders. We relied so heavily on trading VHS tapes and all that, to try to figure out, what's going on in certain wrestling promotions, like who are the cats that we needed to look out for and everything. Hell, to a certain degree, I never paid for it. I never checked it out, but I know some had checked out the Observer and all that, from back in the day. But if you wanted to know what was going on, who you need to have your eyes on, that's pretty much how you did it. I'm telling you, it's so weird what's going on here with social media these days. Who? By the way, what do you guys think about Elon Musk potentially charging people for using X, formerly known as Twitter? Now, I know some of you guys are hearing that and you're going, well, wait a minute. Isn't he charging right now already? And I would say to you, you are correct. What's currently going down right now, for those that want to be able to access longer post text tweets, right? You want to be able to post longer tweets. You want to be able to post longer videos. Maybe you want to have that respected check mark for your business or whatnot. There is a monthly stipend that you have to come up with, okay? But no, the idea that Elon Musk is floating around is, no, even if you don't have that, just to be able to use X, you got to pay a monthly fee. And he's estimating that there is somewhere between 500 to 600 million users monthly on X. And so he feels that he would basically be justified. And you got to keep in mind, this dude is basically saying, yo, this is how much I'm going to be charging. My God. Can you just imagine if he were to go in that direction? And to Norma in the chat, Norma, there are plenty of other podcasts that you can go and check out, my friend. Nobody pointed a gun to your head and forced you to stay here and check out the show and everything. Please, by all means, if you're not enjoying the show, do like most people and roll out. Go check out something else. Now, see, I could respect your comment a lot more if you were to come at me and go, hey, Lee, can I just offer some constructive criticism, dog? Could I just maybe offer some ways of improvement? Could you maybe go in this direction? Or could you maybe bring up this topic? Or, hey, man, I noticed this. I noticed that you didn't go in this direction here. Or, hey, man, you need to have a little bit more. Nah, you just want to come right on out like a troll and you want to be a dick. That's what that is. I mean, I see that a mile away. So, and I've given you enough press time as it is. Norma just probably wanted, you know what it is? Unfortunately, some of these people, it's 2023. Some of these people, they still can't wrap their brain around, oh, a post show. It's, okay, I'm not watching actual highlights. I'm not watching actual wrestling footage. I can't believe we still got this going on in 2023. And that's despite the fact that it's clear as day, you know, the thumbnail, big old, like clear as day. Title, clear as day. But apparently reading is not fundamental for people like Norma. It's very unfortunate, very unfortunate, very unfortunate. But where was I going with my train of thought last? We talked about, I'm trying to figure out, can you guys jog my memory? What were we talking about last? We talked about Jade. Trying to figure out where we were going with that before we got rudely interrupted there. Don't worry, I'll find my way back to it. It's okay. But no, it's the whole social media. Yeah, Elon Musk. That's what we were talking about. So that's what's going on now. So obviously you got a lot of people out there in social media land that's looking at what's happening with Musk and crew and saying, okay, you know what? If this dude is about to start charging monthly, again, you've already got the monthly thing going on where if you want to post longer videos, if you want to post longer tweets, if you want a badge and all of that, you're already paying something monthly. But now it would appear that potentially, and yeah, to their credit, they're still working out the kinks. But as it stands right now, this could go down a couple of ways. It could be, besides this monthly thing that you're paying, you also got to pay this monthly thing just to be able to continue to access using the platform. So it could be a 2-in-1 type of deal, or maybe it could be a situation where, okay, look, if you're already paying for this, then there's no reason for you to pay for this over here. I don't know how they're gonna iron that out, but just the idea that mofos are possibly gonna have to pay just to access the platform, we could be looking at freaking MySpace or you name it. This really could be a case where it's the end of days for X, formerly known as Twitter. Look, if you ask me, how do I feel about X, Twitter? I remember when Musk had first put out the freaking, we're going to have you guys start paying for the longer videos, post longer tweets, the little check marks. I remember when I first heard that stuff, I said, okay, you know what? And not for nothing, some of my friends in the podcasting world, they operated the same way as well. They were like, okay, you know what? We'll try this out, especially if it means we can access some of these cool features, maybe ultimately have the ability to be able to go live and everything. Okay, yeah, sure. We'll go ahead, we'll bite, and we'll try it out for a couple of months. Let's see where it goes. And also the mindset was, look, if ultimately this will help grow my respected brand, if this will ultimately help expand my business, then yeah, sure, I'll go ahead, I'll pay that monthly fee, but I expect these perks in return, all in the name of helping me build up a better brand, getting my product, services, company out there to a more wider audience. And for some people, it worked out that way. And then for others, it was, after 4 or 5 months, it was, okay, you know what? I'm done here. Yeah, I'm not getting the results that I was hoping for. I'm just going to roll out. This is a very, very sticky situation. Very, very sticky situation. I'm predicting that, and I don't like predicting negativity. I don't like talking negative and all that. Y'all know that's been checking out the shows for a while. If it ain't about positivity, I don't want to have anything to do with it. Right? I don't want to have anything to do with it. And it's easy for people that is behind little avatars. What is it? What's the other one called? Caricatures, little animated logos or no logos at all. It's easy for mofos to talk trash behind a keyboard, but don't even have their face, right? And then when you see them in person, it's just meow, 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 right? A little punk, right? That's all they are. It's easy to talk a good game online, but when it comes right down to putting your money where your mouth is, that's where. And I'm looking at what's happening here with X, formerly known as Twitter, and I'm jumping out there. I'm putting my face and all that behind it. If they decide to go in this direction of charging people to stay on the platform, just to stay on the platform, there are going to be so many that's going to be flocking to other social media, because see, the way I've always looked at it, and nobody has broken it down like this. Nobody's broken it down like this. I look at it as an all-you-can-eat buffet. That's how I look at social media platforms like X, formerly known as Twitter. All you can eat. Come on by. Bring your mama, bring your sister, bring your cousin, bring your grandma, the whole family. Just bring them all. Everybody can eat. Oh, we can eat? Yeah, y'all can eat. Y'all can eat for free. Come on over. You can eat. We can eat. Eat as much as you want. Eat as long as you can. You can eat. Everybody go in there and they're eating. Food good, huh? Yeah. Like them drinks, huh? Yeah. How's the dessert? Oh, it's good. You like it? Yeah. Oh, all right. That's what's up. And the feast. The feast is just, and you're enjoying it. You're loving it. Okay? Same time next week? Yeah. We'll see you next week. All right. Bring the whole family. And every time, it's the same thing. Then when you start talking about, hey, I know you've been enjoying the food and all that, right? And we love having you, but yeah, we're gonna have to start charging because we're losing so much over here, and you know, you understand, and it's a case where once you start introducing money into the equation, 9 times out of 10, a is gonna go and take their business elsewhere. They're gonna go and take their business elsewhere 9 times out of 10. I guarantee you that for every 50 people that you have in line that were coming to that all-you-can-eat buffet for free, and now you're telling them that they have to pay, first off, if the pay setup is reasonable, then you're gonna have, out of those 50, you'll probably have about maybe, I would say, what's a good number, guys? Maybe 15 to 20. You'll probably have 15 to 20 that will go, okay, the price is reasonable. I do like the food. Sure, what the hell? But then the others, they'll leave. Now just imagine if you then followed up after a couple of months and said, man, what we're getting money-wise, this isn't good enough. Think we're gonna have to do a little bit more here with the prices. Maybe we can introduce some type of a tier range where bronze will only get you access to this food, and silver will get you access to this level of food, and platinum will get you, and then we've got gold, which gets you everything. And just imagine if you tried to operate something like that with the people that were willing to pay what they thought was a reasonable, fair price that you set up. And now you're telling them, oh, we're kind of throwing that out the window because we're going to be going with this tier. Now you're alienating the hell out of mofos, and they're going to roll the hell out. That's what's going on with X Twitter in a nutshell. That's why this is such a big deal. For those of you that maybe don't even have the social media platform, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. Meanwhile, you got frickin' Facebook and all them other people. They're just looking and they're just wow, right? For those of you that might be new and you're coming on, you're checking out the show for the first time, this is typically how we roll. The only difference is at this point we would have talked nothing but WWE RAW. I mean, seriously, the show's been out for over 48 hours. What do you want me to talk about from Monday Night Raw? Do you want me to talk about how Nia Jax had popped up on Monday night and how she steamrolled through Shayna Baszler? Payback is a dog, ain't it? I mean, she had that receipt for Shayna Baszler. Do I talk about how she checkmated her? Do I talk about how she pretty much had, continued her onslaught as Rhea Ripley nowhere to be seen on Monday night. They've got Rhea Ripley selling the hell out of that injury that she has sustained from the previous week in the Monday Night Raw closer there for the Raw Women's Championship. Do I bring that up? Do I bring up how Nia Jax was just wrecking women left and frickin' right? Once again, and by the way, shout out to Stevie Richards, because I saw the video that Stevie Richards had put out. He's got that whole What Went Wrong series, which I really, really love it. And he'll talk about key segments from Monday Night Raw or whatever, things that, and I like how he broke down how Nia Jax had came off of the ropes in the corner and just sat on, did the little bonsai drop on Ripley last week, and how he broke that down in slow-mo and all of that. I thought that was, see, you're watching it in real time, you're not really, but the way he was able to just pause, and, you know, it's understandable if you had missed it and everything. But what, do you want me to talk about how Nia Jax just came in there, took out Piper Niven, took out Chelsea Green? I'm trying to think if she even did anything to Zoe Stark. I can't remember, but what? You want me to talk about how she went in there and how she just wrecked? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is all about reestablishing Nia Jax as the irresistible force, the unstoppable force and everything. You know, getting back to basics with the big girl and everything, the pretty big girl and everything. And you know what? I'm down with that. I'm down with that. If you are continuing to tell that story that Jax is there wrecking everybody while also putting the women's division on notice, okay, mission accomplished. Great job. Do we talk about the continuing strife that was going on there with Jey Uso, Judgment Day, trying to make their hardest sales pitch on, yo, you need to join Judgment Day, because in Jey Uso finally coming to the conclusion of, you know what, I don't need this whole Judgment Day crap. I'm not down with Judgment Day. Judgment Day can stick it for all I care. And he finally did stick it to him, getting physical with them and everything. You know, and I mean, we kind of saw that kind of happening a mile away, right? Maybe some of you guys didn't, but I definitely saw that coming from a mile away. And babyface Jey Uso sells a hell of a lot more than a heel Jey Uso, although you can definitely entertain, man, just Jey and Judgment Day. Just, yeah, you can, right? By the way, Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso, for what that was worth, I did enjoy their match. I did enjoy that one, as well as Dominic Mysterio taking on Dominic. I'm sorry. Did I just say Cody Mysterio? What the hell am I thinking? Sorry about that. Dominic Mysterio taking on Cody Rhodes. I did enjoy that match. Those two were pretty good. I already talked about the Becky Lynch and the Natty. I already talked about that one. Shinsuke, Nakamura, Ricochet, DQ match when Ricochet decided he was going to use a steel chair there, just snapping, just saying, forget this, right? I get that. I get that. Seeing Seth Rollins go over the edge, where have we seen that before? Shout out if you know your history involving Seth Rollins and the security. I mean, we stay seeing this guy flipping the hell out. I love seeing this version of Seth Rollins that is being pushed over the edge, and mentally he is just flipping his freaking lid right now because Nakamura is all up in his head, and the only way he knows how to quench this thirst for Nakamura is to have a match with him, but Nakamura's playing hard to get for what it's worth, right? Pretty average episode of Monday Night Raw, quite honestly. You know, it's interesting because the show kind of gave you flashes of the old NXT, the old black and gold, for what it's worth, because we had those moments there, particularly with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens trying to have a council meeting there with Cody Rhodes, saying, yo, I understand you're the one that brought Jey here. What's the 401 on that? What's going on? Cody, hey, second chances, right? That's the whole story. Second chances. Everybody is redeemable. Everybody deserves a second chance. Sometimes even a third chance. And Kevin Owens eventually, okay, look, I get it. I get it. I may not like it, but I respect it. And okay, let's see what happens. So, Kevin is pretty much on board for this and everything. But it was a nice episode. A little bit of an average episode for what it was worth. A little bit long-winded for what it's worth. But some of these matches, I honestly, Kofi, Ibar, I could have done without that one. Bronson Reed, Chad Gable, I'm still scratching my head on that one these couple of days later. I'm still scratching my head on that one because I would have thought that Chad would have been coming from out of the gate. Even though he lost to Gunther, I would have been under the impression he was still going to continue on some type of a win streak or whatnot, right? But he didn't look like no chump in a losing effort to Bronson Reed. I will give it that, the way the match was laid out. So that's kudos right there on that. Props to WWE for how they had did that match and all that. But bit of a average episode for me when it's all said and done. I'm sorry, was I supposed to go a little bit longer in the talking about Monday Night Raw? I mean, the show's only been out. What I really want to talk about right now is how I was kicking back watching SmackDown this past Friday, seeing the return of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That was, I gotta tell you, and you gotta go back and check out some of our show excerpts. It was just about over a month ago, I believe. A shout out to DJ. I have not uploaded, if you notice, we haven't uploaded any show excerpt clips onto the YouTube channel in the past couple of weeks. We're going to get back into the groove of things in a couple of weeks. Just on a side note, I got a lot. I'm not going to even dive into it right now, but there's a lot that's on my plate right now. So, but we're going to dive into that, get back on the saddle of that again in a couple of weeks. But if you go on the YouTube channel and you look up the show excerpt clips, I talked about the idea of Batista, John Cena, The Rock, and with this whole strike that's going on, is it possible that maybe one of these guys or all of these guys could come back to WWE? And I talked about how optics-wise, this would not really look good and everything. And yeah, no doubt WWE, AEW, Impact, NWA, they aren't part of the Writers Guild, and right, so there's an interesting loophole that's going on there and everything. And when it was all said and done in that clip, just through process of elimination, I said, look, if anybody would definitely come back, and they've shown that, hey, when they're there, they're fully committed, it's John Cena. So that was called perfectly. But to then see The Rock pop up last Friday, I first of all, I was excited. I was very, very happy to see him. It was great timing too, because I had just sat down to have dinner with the wifey, and we're watching, and she had the biggest smile on her face as well, because she's a big Dwayne Johnson fan. So we're looking at this, and I mean, golden. The segment there, it was golden. I loved it. Got goosebumps, right? Ain't felt that good since CM Punk came back, okay? First dance, whatever, second dance, whatever you want to call it, right? But then, I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, this is good and it's bad at the same time. It's good and bad at the same time. You can even go good or bad. Okay? So, here's the good. Here's the good. As messed up as it is that this writer strike is going on right now, the good is that we're seeing guys like John Cena, The Rock, return to WWE. And remember, Dave Bautista was quoted in numerous interviews, I'd rather go broke before I go back to wrestling, right? He pretty much has said, yeah, I am done. I went into the Hall of Fame. That's it. I'm done. I'm not wrestling again. That's it. But now you've got Dave Bautista putting out a different tune where he's saying, hey, look, for as long as this strike continues, if WWE were to hit me up and we can come up with something really, really cool, oh yeah, in a heartbeat, I'd entertain it. Right? So we've got now Big Dave going on record, and it's right. So this writer's strike, it's done good from the standpoint of we're seeing our big three favorites. They're kind of looking at their options. They're testing the waters there, and that's actually looking pretty good right about now. Okay. At the same time, Hollywood as a whole, they are looking at certain projects that maybe got shelved. Maybe there was 13 episodes that was filmed of some series way before the strike had went down, and for whatever respected reason, when they showed the first couple of episodes to focus groups, and I've been there, I've done that. I have organized, when I was working for a marketing research consulting firm, I organized focus groups to go over hit TV shows, whether it was for Discovery Communications or it was for Warner Media, you name it. Like, I stayed doing focus groups for TV shows. And let me tell you something. I would imagine that a lot of these shows that's getting ready to premiere that we ain't heard nothing about ever before, these were shows that ultimately were canned because it didn't quite. And now it's, well, look, we got to fill this block with something. We got to somehow entertain. And as a result, these shows are being picked up now. And it's okay. Let's see what happens. Let's see what you guys might be able to do for us. And who knows, you do it just right. Maybe we can get you some more episodes ordered. Let's see what happens and everything. So we're seeing, not to mention, we're also seeing celebrities branch out. They're doing auctions on eBay, and I mean, you name it, but they're doing all these really cool auctions where, hey, for X amount of money, whatever is raised, that money is going to go to the families that's being affected by the writer's strike. Those that are continuing to protest, they're going to get that money and everything, right? Meanwhile, we're seeing people like Drew Barrymore, Bill Maher, they're going, okay, might not have writers, but bump this. I got to go get mine. I got to go get my paper. We've got Jeopardy. I don't know if you guys heard about Jeopardy, but Jeopardy, they are, for the first time, I think, in show history, they are recycling. Past questions. Believe it or not, you don't believe me, go research it, but there's an article out about it and everything. Yeah, Jeopardy is back, but they're recycling material from years prior to get them through the strikes. So it's crazy. So you're looking at some of the good that I had highlighted that's going on, right? There's a lot of good that's happening right now, especially if you're a wrestling fan. But then I think about the bad. And the bad for me is this. The longer that the strike goes on, ultimately would not be good for the fans, because ultimately celebrities, they got to figure out some type of way to keep their name, their brand out there in the limelight. So how are they ultimately going to do that, right? While at the same time trying to represent the strike. And I could see a scenario coming about where the longer that the strike goes on, some of these celebrities, they may say, okay, you know what? I've always wanted to do a podcast. So they go and they launch a podcast. I would imagine a few of them have already done it, but like, again, the longer the strike thing goes on, okay? So the longer that it goes on, you feel what I'm talking about? I'm going to keep going though, right? But you should already be looking ahead here, right? So now we're going to have a sea full of celebrities doing podcasts. It's going to be very, I would imagine that it could be as similar as what that Punisher dude, Bertharno, that Punisher guy. He's got a really great podcast. I like watching some of his clips on YouTube. Months prior, I strongly had considered becoming a Patreon member. His joint is called Real Ones. Y'all know who I'm talking about. John Bertharno, Punisher. I love his joint. His joint is so low key. You just chilling, right? I love where he sets up to do his interviews with the guests and all that. It's freaking badass. But I can imagine celebrities kind of following John's path as far as that type of podcasting realm, just from a production standpoint and everything, taking it to that next level and all that. But as a result of the strike, more and more celebrities doing the podcasting, and who knows, maybe that could be a case right there where whatever money is being raised, that too is going. And then how this ultimately will affect the wrestling fan or whatnot is it could be a case where, man, if that wrestling fan has to choose between having this subscription over here for this podcast or this subscription over here for this premium service or this subscription over here for this gaming service, right? The last thing that a consumer wants to be put in is in a position where they gotta go, I gotta cut something to save money, or you know what, I'm not really feeling I'm getting the best bang for my buck right here with this service. Maybe it'd be better if I actually took my money and applied it over here instead. That's the last thing that a consumer, you don't want a consumer in that position, right? To the point, if a celebrity is doing XYZ and that fan hears about it, what do you think they're going to do? If they ain't got no money freed up yet, they will have some money freed up to go and, right? So there's definitely that aspect of it. We could also see a situation occur where a lot more celebrities will appear in things that you would never, ever, ever, ever consider. My biggest fear right now, my biggest trepidation for as long as this strike continues, we could go back to the days of when WWE was having celebrity guest hosts. Remember that period? Shout out for those of you that do remember. There was that period where we had a celebrity every single week that was hosting Monday Night Raw. And I don't know if they were, I already did that. Hang on a second. That's actually wifey. Hang on a second. I already did this morning. Check your joint. That's weird. That's weird. Hang on a second here. This is important. This is important. Let me just double check something here. This is important. Yeah. Hang on here. I'm just trying to send the wifey a screenshot real quick. All right, she should be good. Okay, sorry about that, guys. But that was very important. I normally wouldn't interrupt, but that was important. So they were going down that path where it was almost like Saturday Night Live. They literally were ripping a page from Lorne Michaels. And it was, what? watch Monday Night Raw this week. Nickelback special host, right? I mean, it literally was going in that direction for many, many weeks. I know that there was definitely, when it gets to the point where you're going, who's hosting Monday Night Raw? That's the wrong thing to come out of your mouth. The right thing to come out of your mouth is, man, wonder what type of wrestling action we're going to get for Monday Night Raw. When you start going, oh, wonder who the host is this week, that's not good. And look, a lot of the hosts on that show for Monday Night Raw were bad. We were just talking about Kevin Hart and how bad of a Raw host he was from a couple of weeks ago. And I brought up the whole Mick Foley thing and all that. So that's my biggest fear, is as long as this is continuing to happen, we could be going down to some troubled waters. And that wouldn't... Okay, good. And that could also expand to other avenues as well. How would you like it if you started seeing celebrities pop up in the booth for a Monday Night Football game, or celebrities popping up during commentary for a basketball game, or celebrities... Now, I hear what some of you guys are saying. Well, Lee, if it's done just right, I think that would actually be pretty badass. That would work out pretty well. I think, one, it depends on who the celebrity is. And two, could they really hang with the guys in the booth? Could they really carry their respected load? Could they really offer... we've seen some bad celebrities over the years. Look, nothing tops Dennis Miller trying to call Monday Night Football action. And I'm surprised that lasted for as long as it did, and it didn't end a lot sooner, okay? But, whew, boy, that was really, really bad. You want to talk about something that sucked? You want to talk about something that really, really sucked? Talk about something that was really, really bad. That was really, 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 really bad, right? So you may say to yourself, oh man, I bet you so-and-so would sound really good if we can just get them to pop up for a segment or two. Be careful what you wish for, because then it becomes a case where, man, that was really, really bad. What the hell was I thinking? I can't believe I endorsed that idea, right? So we could be seeing some unfamiliar, uncharted, uncomfortable territories in the very near future if this writer strike. Now, obviously, I don't want for the writer strike to end, because I don't want to see them, the celebrities, I don't want to see them come on over to wrestling and the sports and all, right? I want for them to get what's coming to them and all that, which brings me back to Cena, Dave Bautista, and all of them. These guys started off as wrestlers. They started off as sports athletes that turned to professional wrestling and ultimately turned to acting. Pretty much in that order. So, does it rattle my feathers at all that these guys, in some form, they all came back? Even if it was for a one-off, just the fact that they came back. Does it annoy me? Right? Well, Big Dave, we'll see what happens with Big Dave. But for now, it's just Cena and The Rock. So, am I perturbed? Am I annoyed? No, but I am a little cautious, because... And I'm mainly cautious for these guys particularly, because it's one of those things where that's a gray area. That's a mighty gray area. And I don't think anybody has disputed that. That gray area being, okay, look, WWE, they're not part of the Writers Guild, so... Right? That's like live sporting event there, so... But... the optics, it still doesn't quite look good. especially for The Rock. The Rock coming off of that whole Maui Fire controversy with Oprah, and look, you can defend that if you want, but we can all be in agreement. Any type of bad press is just bad in general. And the fact that Rock is linked to, so look, I wouldn't be surprised if from a marketing standpoint, from a PR standpoint, I wouldn't be surprised if Rock and his people were like, you know how we can put out that flame? No pun intended. Seriously, I just walked right into that one. But you know how we can kind of squash what's going on over here? Maybe if we do this WWE thing. And now you see in regards to the XFL, they are pretty close to doing a merger there. What is it with the USFL or whatever? So we'll see how that pans out, but that'd be some pretty good news for The Rock as well and everything. So there's a couple of different things to think about when you're looking at what's going on here with this Hollywood strike. And I was one of the first people, if not the first, one of the first people weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks back. And I kept driving it home when nobody else was really talking about it. I kept telling you guys, this Hollywood strike, don't sleep on it. Telling you guys, and I kept telling you all, y'all got to look at it from all of these avenues. And a lot of what I've been saying, you know, these past couple of months, it's been coming to fruition. So, you know, just kind of looking into the crystal ball and everything, you know, the duration that this strike continues to happen, expect a lot more. I'm telling you, expect a lot more as far as the celebrities go. One thing for certain, the longer that this strike goes on, the more that celebrities are going to be branching out, and they're going to be trying out other avenues. If they never considered podcasting before, they're definitely going to embrace it. If they've never been one for social media, if they haven't embraced it by now, they're about to start embracing it. Make no mistake about it. When it's all said and done and celebrities really are able to understand the true power that they wield in regards to social media and all that, this is a changing, career defining moment for the Hollywood industry. And I predict that the industry as a whole, it won't be the same after this. When the strike is all said and done, it just goes right into as far as how we go about our media consumption. You know, when we're trying to figure out, oh, this piece of gossip that's going on over here, man, is that true? Or, I mean, it's just another one of those turning point moments for our culture, I personally feel. So mark my words on that. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. Trust me, because you guys are going to be coming right back here in a couple of months when you see some of the stuff that plays out, and you're going to be like, God damn it, Lee called it. Lee called it. Yeah. If you guys been enjoying yourselves so far, if you haven't done so already, do me a huge favor and join the 13,000 plus subscribers here on the YouTube channel. We've got like over 2,600 on X, formerly known as Twitter. We got a ton of likes on the Facebook page. Join our community. It's a pretty solid community. Nice, cool, laid back, mature group of folks, right? We bust each other's balls, you know, but for the most part, we're, you know, pretty cordial with one another. Shout out to those of you that's accessing this via YouTube. Make sure you hit that like button. It takes only a second, and when you do that, you get the content out there to a more wider, broader audience. I'm trying to figure out if I want to go into this or if I want to save it for the Wednesday night show, because I got a couple of, well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and let's dive into these last 2-3 little items here. So El Hayo del Vikingo, seeing a report that he's apparently injured This went down during a ROH taping. For those of you that might not know, El Hero del Vikingo, he had a match last Saturday during a Ring of Honor taping. He teamed up with Gravity and Matalik to take on Tony Nese, Angelico, and Serpentenko. And Dave Meltzer is reporting that apparently the AAA Mega Champion may have hurt himself in the match. Vikingo went in for a dive. Someone was meant to catch him, but they didn't. And at the time, it was feared Vikingo broke his hip, although it's looking as though it's a deep bruise. But either way, it was said that this man was in a wheelchair and he's going to be missing some time regardless. So when you hear that, you just can't help but shake your head and go, well, this is unfortunate. And I mean, for me, when I look at Vikingo, automatically I'm thinking about what Conan brought up, the fact that he mentioned Rey Mysterio tried sitting down with Vikingo, letting him know, dude, you gotta slow the hell up. You gotta be thinking for the long haul as far as your career goes, because with everything that you're doing right now, dude, you're going to be looking at multiple surgeries on those kneecaps before you're even 31. So slow your roll down. You know, you got to switch up the game as far as your wrestling goes. And you would have thought that that would definitely, okay. But Vikingo is still going out there. And, you know, when I think about Vikingo, I don't like saying this, but when I look at his work, I just go, and before anybody says to me, yeah, but Lee, you know, it's the style of lucha libre. I've seen my fair share of lucha libre. I really have. I may not talk about it enough, but I've seen my fair share of lucha libre and everything. What Vikingo, and this isn't a diss, this is just a point of observation. What Vikingo represents to me is someone that is just very familiar with gymnastics and is very good at, you know, at the aerobics of that. He's very good at the gymnastics aspect. But when we're talking about actual, okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty, let's actually do some wrestling, that's not Vikingo. Vikingo is nothing more than a fun little crash test dummy. You want to see him do this crazy little spot over here, right? You want to watch him walk the ropes and do a 450 splash. You want to watch, right? You know, that's what it's all about for him, unfortunately. And he only knows one gear, and that's what he stays with. And to be doing all this type of stuff on a TV show, it's one thing if you're doing all of that stuff for a pay-per-view. Okay, you're saving all of your best stuff, or okay, it's for a pay-per-view, I get it. But to be doing all this silly stuff for a TV show, and mind you, for a TV show that is behind a paywall, yeah, man, just your priorities, it's just way freaking off. Maybe this will humble him. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe this will humble him, and long haul, this will have him try to operate smarter. We'll have to wait and see. But, man, let a Rey Mysterio, just picture yourself and Rey Mysterio wants to sit down with you and he's trying to give you some sound advice. You telling me you're not gonna take that to heart? I mean, sure, you're gonna mark out and all of that because it's Rey freaking Mysterio, but seriously, you're not gonna take that to heart that, man, I got Ray telling me I need to slow it down a little bit because he's been checking out my work, and yeah, you know what, man, that guy's been there. He knows. He's been at the top many times. Like, or do you just, yeah, whatever, I'm just gonna go keep making this money? look, you do what you want to do. At the end of the day, you know, you got to treat certain people like that. You know, look, he's a grown-ass man. He's a grown-ass man. He's going to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. And he knows the risk that he's taking. If this is what he wants to continue to do, then El Hero needs to be prepared for the consequences that comes as a result. I mean, it's just plain and simple. No reason for fans to feel any type of sympathy or pity or whatever like that, right? He's already been spoken to, right? And it's not coming from a place of, you know, yo, you need to. It's not coming from a place of law or anything like that. The people that are reaching out to this guy, yo, we think the world of you. We think highly of you. You could be lasting a lot longer if you just dialed it back a little bit, dog. And the fact that he's still going out there, you know, I have done so many episodes of AEW Rampage, writing up the reviews over on the website, that, you know, typically when it comes to Vikingo, I'm just going, wow, like, I can't believe this dude is, I mean, he is doing all this crazy stuff for a match. And it's like, man, I'm curious, is this gonna, right? And man, for me to be at the receiving end after I'm done reviewing I write up the articles for the Rampage episodes, nothing saddens me more than when I see the rating for a Rampage episode in which Vikingo was a part of, and the rating was bad. Like, just overall, the rating for that show was bad. And it's like, one of the first things I think about, all that flippity-doo-dah stuff, and this is what you got for a rating. It really, you know, you would think that from a business standpoint, anybody that's really serious about their time and their money, you would think that, especially an international star like Vikingo, yeah, let me look at the ratings here. What's going on here? Let me look at those quarter reports. Let me see what's going on here, right? You would think that, like, okay, I know my audience. I know on average. I know what's going on here. So this definitely gives me a better idea on, or at least know how your segments are doing each time you're popping up. And if all that crazy flippity-doo-dah stuff is worth keeping in rotation when you're popping up, you know, doing your thing and all that. But man, to do whatever stuff he was doing for a show behind a paywall, come on, man. Come on. No. WWE morale said to be pretty low following Friday's layoffs, as you had over 100 employees. Yes, WWE released over 100 employees on Friday as part of cost-cutting measures after the UFC WWE merger that was finalized, as many of you guys know from last week. PW Insider is reporting that the morale was decimated among employees after this past weekend. There was apparently a all-hands-on-deck meeting on Tuesday in Stamford, Connecticut, with WWE President Nick Khan. Vince McMahon was there. Ari Emanuel, you know, owner of TKO and all that, was there. The highlight bullet points from that meeting, Vince basically said that Ari is his boss. Ari also took the time to introduce his daughter. I forgot his daughter's name, but basically she works for WWE now, apparently. To what extent, what exactly her position is going to be, have to wait and see how that plays out. Vince actually said that the company, WWE, was in a bit of a bad spot financially, and that this was actually a really good move for the company. And this had made a lot of eyes roll. Like, literally, a lot of people rolled their eyes when they heard this. Like, keep in mind, WWE was pulling in blockbuster numbers. I mean, the whole freaking 9 yards. before the company was even sold, before Vince even re-entered the picture and all that. So obviously, one of the most interesting names that was part of the release was Dana Warrior. So I'm not shocked at that. I honestly, no bull, I felt that it was only going to be a matter of time before her name was going to be on the chopping block. And you know, look, Triple H and crew, they came in for Dana Warrior and her family when they needed it the most. And I would like to believe that Dana Warrior, for all intents and purposes, I would like to believe that, look, if you haven't saved your money by now, if you haven't, every single time you was getting those, hang on a second here, every single time you was getting that money from WWE, if you didn't put a nice chunk of that to the side for X amount of years, I mean, just really stop and think about that. Warrior has been dead, what, almost 10 years? I'm like literally getting ready to look him up right now. I think he's been dead almost 10 years. Yeah, he died in 2014. So next year, next April, will be the 10-year anniversary since his passing. So, you know, if you haven't done what you needed to do to, you know, save up your money and all that, from that point up till now, you know, it's kind of one of those, right? And you just can't help but wonder, like with everybody that was put on the chopping block, you can't help but wonder if all of this would have happened under Stephanie McMahon's watch. As you know, now you have a lot of people that's wondering, if Steph was there, Steph was always trying to stay on top of morale. She was always trying to do the right thing by the people. She was trying to make sure that, you know, as far as cuts go, you know, let's do what's absolutely needed. Not, you know, let's not just be spamming just to be spamming. So you can't help but wonder how much of a factor she would have played if she was still in the picture, if this would have even happened at all. Stephanie, honestly, yeah, I don't hear enough people talk about this, but it's pretty obvious that Stephanie, where there's smoke, there's fire, and she knew what was coming, and she did not want to have any part of this, obviously, and just said, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna take my ball and yeah, I'm just gonna enjoy being a civilian. I'm just gonna go enjoy being a mom. I'm just gonna enjoy being I'm just gonna enjoy being a wife. How about that? I'll go write me a couple of books. Maybe I'll do one on cooking and, you know, yeah, but I'm done. Peace out, right? You can't blame her. You can't freaking blame her, right? So this stuff that's going on, you know, it's sad. It's sad to see that over 100, and, you know, those that were working remotely, for them to pop up at that meeting on Tuesday, just from processing all the people, boom, just like that lost their job. And then you gotta pop up on Tuesday for that meeting. Oof. Now look, that's a lot of people that were let go. But let me tell you something, folks, when it's all said and done, those people will be just fine. Because whether you're Impact Wrestling, or you're the NWA, or you're MLW, or you're AEW, you're gonna be just fine. You're going to be just fine, right? This is a thriving, growing business. All these people that were released, you know, they'll rebound quite nicely. And overall, by having these people now available in the free agency pool, as I like to call it, you know, any one of these people, right? You know, they bring something unique. They bring something that will help boost your promotion. I personally feel your business, right? So, you know, the wrestling industry as a whole will definitely continue to thrive. You know, I'm more curious to see what's going to happen with talent releases. That's the one I'm most curious about. I mean, what they just did there, that was a management thing. We always knew that that was going to happen. You know, did we expect that it was going to be numbers that big? I'm gonna say for myself, no. I wasn't expecting the numbers to be that big. As far as over 100 employees being released, I was not expecting that. But I knew that as far as, you know, hey, we gotta merge, we gotta, you know, why we got this department over here, we gotta simplify this, let's combine this over here. And that's something that Nick Khan was already doing. Mind you, that was something he was already doing, but the fact that there was even more cropping that was going on, that's just, but the talent releases, that is the one that I'm more interested in, you know, because I'm curious who's going to be released from that respective pool and who's not. Right? That, so, you know, to be continued. That's my whole gist of the story. It's to be continued. I'm gonna save the Kevin Nash LA Knight thing. I want to get into that on the Wednesday show. So let's hold off on the Kevin Nash things. I definitely want to follow up more on that because he's taking another shot at LA Knight, and fans are just in a frenzy when it comes to that one. So, real quick, Jake Hager, for those of you who might have been curious about what's going on with his MMA career, he pretty much said he's done. When he did Bellator 250 and he pretty much had won by split decision, yeah, he is done. He's done. He tried training last year, but in his own words, Bellator, they kept jerking him off. So he retired, and now he's just focused on wrestling full time. So for those of you that were a little bit curious what was going on there, now you know. Let's pause right there though. All right, so we got another show that's going to be coming up several hours from now. I'll be live with you guys a little bit after 10 p.m. Eastern on the East Coast after AEW Dynamite goes off the air. We got some CM Punk, Tony Khan, AEW news, a little tiny bit of an update that we can get into on that. We'll talk about Dynamite Fallout. We'll get into the Kevin Nash coming after LA Knight again. Some more little interesting little wrestling news tidbits, all that good stuff. So come on through for that. And in the meantime, be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. Get at me on X, formerly known as Twitter, the Facebook, YouTube. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And until next go round, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Adios. Take care.